What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Liam Teaches Chess. This is round 2 of the Gulf Coast Open. If you missed round 1, be sure to check that out. So after round 1, I had suffered a disappointing loss where I had a commanding position against roughly a 2100 player and blew it. These are going to happen in tournaments. Not going to lie to you guys, that loss was very annoying, not because I lost, but because it was at the end of the game. It was a winning position. And frankly, I beat myself by moving too quick. So, round 2 here, got to just try your best to forget about that and focus in when that occurs to you. I'm playing a player roughly 2050 USCF, playing with the white pieces. I play C4, the English opening. He responds C5, the symmetrical English. G3, G6, we're both being Ketowing our bishops. Bishop 2, bishop G7, knight F3, E5, trying to clamp down on the D4 square. Knight C3, knight G E7, castles, D3. So in the English opening, a lot of times you're trying to control the light squares in the center of the board. You can see my pawns, my knight, my bishop can all coordinate there. Black plays knight c6, developing his bishop. I play bishop d2. Kind of a lame move. I think bishop g5 would be preferred by engines, but defends my knight in a lot of lines where I like to play this like rook b1, a3, b4, trying to expand on the queen side. And sometimes your knight can be hanging from a sneaky trap like e4, where you both attack my knight, attack my bishop, and my rook is behind. So d6, rook b1, f5. Black is playing a King's Indian defense somewhat, where they're trying to expand on the king side and ultimately checkmate me. I'm going to respond by playing where my pawn chain is pointing, trying to expand on the queen side, not get checkmated, and eventually win the game. A3, A5. And this is very normal, where black is trying to clamp down on the B4 square. Currently, they attack the square once, twice, 3 times. We only defend it once, twice if I was to play b4. This is why I play the move knight fe1, an unusual looking move where the knight maneuvers itself to c2 to help support the b4 pawn put. f4, knight c2, g5, and b4. He plays g4, so he's going forward with his plans. I'm not really worried about any f3 moves or anything like that. So I take on c5, opening up the rook, hoping to play against this b pawn and try to claim that it is a weakness. My opponent takes back on c5, and here I play knight e4, targeting the weakness I've created. This pawn is now a little weak as well, with no more pawns protecting it. And I'm trying to force move b6, where, okay, now I have a new target where I'm going to try to build up on the b file and win this pawn. Now, if I had spent more time to think here, we're playing a game 60. Maybe I would have found the best move, which is instead knight a4, where you attack this pawn still. You can't play b6 now to defend it because we attacked the square twice. And if you play queen d6, a defense of the pawn, we have this move, rook b5, where we double attack the c pawn, and we will end up winning this pawn. Something like knight b7 doesn't work because you just take the pawn, and eventually this rook should get out. For example, here, anything like b6 doesn't work because we just trade rooks, where we take your rook on a8. So missed a chance to win the pawn there. Instead played knight e4. My opponent plays b6, and I play rook b2. I was thinking between rook b3 and rook b2. Rook b2, not always ideal to be lined up with the bishop. Rook b3, my worry here was something like a4, rook b2, and then knight a5, where the knight can try to clamp itself down on b3, supported by the pawn. Guess I could have taken here and tried to build up pressure on the b pawn still. But yeah, that's why I chose b2. And here my opponent surprised me with the move f3. Not a move I was really worried about because, I thought I attacked this square once, twice, 3 times. You only defend it once, twice. But my opponent's point here is that if I take on f3, he takes back. I take with the bishop. He ultimately wins my d pawn with his queen. His queen's getting in. Maybe he's going to double up on the d file. And I no longer have this nice pawn chain anymore. Computer wants me to play something like knight e3 here, defending the c4 pawn, maybe clamping down the d5, not allowing this bishop to come into f5. I instead just played bishop g2. I didn't think there was anything to worry about here, really. But after bishop f5, I realized that I'm wrong, right? I was surprised by this move f3, and now I'm a little bit worried where I quickly played rook fe1, and then after rook d8, I had 45 minutes after rook e1 on my clock out of game 60. But after my next move, I have 24 minutes. So I end up spending 21 minutes thinking of what to do here because I'm feeling in trouble where knight e3 doesn't work because they just take your knight with the bishop here. So this would just win them a piece. The rook no longer would defend my knight. I'm worried about losing this pawn. I'm ultimately worried about being in a pin to the queen and the rook, where something like queen c1 doesn't work because they can take the knight. You take back, and then queen takes d2 would win a piece. Something like this. I have 2 minor pieces. They have 3. So this would be losing too. So then I was kind of thinking of, what if I play rook e2? What if I play rook e3? What if I play oh, my queen's on d1. Yeah, what if I play bishop f1? What if I play rook e2 and then they play bishop g4 and I play f3 and they take, I take back, the rook takes, and now my king looks weak. I'm a little bit worried about rook e3 too, where they can take this pawn and maybe bishop h6 is going to hit the board. So there's a lot to think about here. I ultimately decided on playing rook e3, which is the engine's best move. So happy that I found the best move after thinking for a long time. 21 minutes on a single move in a game 60 is a lot of time. Thankfully, I moved pretty fast to get here. And I thought my opponent would take on c4. Just winning a pawn. I'm really not sure if I can get this b pawn back because, again, I'm worried about if I just grab this b pawn. I'm worried about moves like bishop h6, where the bishop and the rook, and you could try to remove the defender of the knight. Everything tries to team up on me. Maybe I could get away with something like rook c3, although maybe not. You know, stuff like well, queen takes rook doesn't work because I don't take back with the bishop, giving you my rook. I would take back with the knight. So maybe I could have gotten away in something like this. But after rook e3, my opponent plays queen d7. And I kind of felt like the worst had passed. I'm feeling a lot better now. And so I play knight e1, where now my rook defends my bishop laterally. And I'm going to be able to play moves like rook d3 in response to bishop h6. Or I'm going to play queen c1 or queen b1 or rook d3. Or maybe I plop the knight on f3. So I thought knight e1, the worst has passed. He plays queen c7, defending his b pawn. So now I definitely feel like I'm back in this game. I was a little bit worried there after feeling really great. He's spending time, no longer pinning me, defending his pawn. And I play rook b3, doubling up on the pawn. And then he plays rook b8. And after he played rook b8, no longer pinning my bishop to my queen, now I felt totally back in this game. You know, we have a pretty even position. Maybe you could say my pawns are a little bit weak. There's no pawns defending them, but black has this weakness. I'm going to be able to break the pin, and the black king is not the safest piece with these pawns looking quite similar to my queenside pawns. My light squared bishop feels awesome. So I felt back in the game here. And then I played bishop c3 and realized I immediately threw it away. So I was deciding between bishop e3 and bishop c3. Mainly, I'm trying to move quickly. Bishop e3 I like because maybe I'm threatening to take on c5 and put some pressure on the b8 rook. Um, I like bishop c3 because it, stops any maybe discoveries in the future. But I played bishop c3 and realized I moved too quick, right? Like, okay, I was down on time. I got myself back in this game. I thought, be patient, play something like queen b1. They do have moves like knight c8. Queen b1, not ideal to be lined up with the bishop too, but bishop c3, the issue with it is, and I spotted it before my opponent even played it, which tells you that you're moving too fast. The issue is a4, and my only move is rook b5, and then knight a7 traps my rook. So I'm going to lose the exchange. I took the pawn, so at least I'm mitigating damage. He takes back, and again, I'm just like moving too quickly here, where I take back with the rook because I want to keep pressure on the b pawn, still keep up some pressure here. And I'm just moving too quick because I realize I take back with the rook, and I've blundered the double exchange after bishop d7. Now, funny enough, Engine reads this as like -1, which means that it feels like I have enough compensation for losing the double exchange. So I play knight f3, just trying to get my pieces in the game. Plays rook a8. I play queen b3. He takes my rook. I take back, so now I'm down to the double exchange. But I do have the bishop pair. I do have some knights. He has a weak king. He plays c4. I play queen b2, maybe threatening to win this pawn someday. He plays knight d5, a good move where my bishop is going to be traded. I play knight fg5, threatening things like knight e6 and just trying to tickle the king, ask questions, get an attack going. I know that if I just sit here, I will lose. He plays queen e7, double attacking my a pawn. I have no illusions of keeping that pawn. So I play bishop h3, where he stopped me from playing knight e6. I want to play knight e6 anyways, maybe transfer these knights like this. I'm just trying to be annoying, attack his king, and hope he makes a mistake. Plays king h8. Okay. Not really. I guess he was worried about stuff like bishop e6. Ooh, bishop e6 and knight f7 or something, but I play knight e6 anyways. He takes my bishop. I take back with the queen, and he plays rook g8. And after he played rook g8, I felt like I really didn't understand this move at all. It puts your king into a corner. Yes, it defends the bishop. I'm not going to take and help you out, though. This rook doesn't do anything here, so I feel like he's kind of giving me chances. And I play queen f3, again, trying to invade on these light squares. He takes my pawn on a3, and I play queen h5. Again, eyeing this square, eyeing this square. Maybe my knights are going to come help me on both of those. He plays queen e8, trying to trade queens, and I play queen h4. Of course, I cannot trade queens. I am down 2 exchanges and a pawn. He plays queen g6, and I play knight d6. Again, now I'm threatening things like bishop f5. I'm trying to get into f7, which would be checkmate if I can get this queen to move. You can't play stuff like queen h6 because knight f7 would be a checkmate and win your queen. So I feel back in the game. I felt like my opponent should have played the move rook a7 here, is what I thought in the game. I didn't really, rook a7. Okay, I take a pawn. And yeah, I'm up a pawn, but I'm down the double exchange. And it kind of seems like my attack has fizzled. Engine also likes rook a7 as the best move, but he played c3. And I didn't think this was correct. I played bishop f5. You can't move the queen. I'm trying to checkmate you. He takes the bishop. I take back with the knight. He plays c2. Yes, I can win a bishop, but then he makes a queen. And so I play knight g5, threatening checkmate. You can't play something like pawn h6. This wins for many reasons, such as knight takes, promote, king here. Oh, no, can't do that line because he takes my queen. I think just something like knight takes h6, and then c2, king here. And now if you give up the queen, I'm going to get in there. But he promotes. I play king g2, and my opponent sacrifices the queen again. So this game's been a roller coaster of emotions. I felt like I was winning to start the game. I was just better. Could have won a pawn. Then I thought for 20 minutes, I felt I was really out of the game. I needed to find some precise only moves. Then I blunder the double exchange back to back. So sloppy chess. And at this point, I felt like I was winning because queen versus rook is an imbalanced position here. I'm also up a pawn. And what they usually say is the queen is better if the king is unsafe and the rooks aren't connected. So both of those things felt true. I had planned to play knight takes bishop here. Knight takes bishop. Oh, not my turn. He plays rook b3. Knight takes bishop, rook takes rook, and something like queen d8 seems like an easy win. He blocks, and I either win this pawn or I just grab this pawn and try to win this pawn later, and I have threats of promoting this guy. But after being tricked already with the move f3, which I guess wasn't even a good move according to the engine, I'm very low on time at this point. I was worried that if I take the bishop on g7, he's going to play rook takes b5. And the point is, now I can't win your e-pawn, and I can't save my knight because you're just going to capture it. Now, the engine, and if I had more time, maybe I find this. The engine says, not a worry in the world. Rook takes b5 because queen e7. And the point is, if you take the rook, you lose your other rook. So wish I had gone for that. That it was my intuition to exchange the knight for the bishop, make the king less safe, get rid of a piece guarding this pawn, and just allow my queen to harass this king. Unfortunately, I played knight d6, threatening checkmate. He played rook f8. And now I realize that, he might be getting a little bit of attack going on me. I played, honestly, I don't know what was played at this point. Both me and my opponent are below 5 minutes, so notation stop for both of us. But eventually the game went something like knight e4, rook takes, queen e7, queen b2, and queen b7. And we got this crazy position eventually where this pawn was off the board, this pawn was off the board. Honestly, I think it was winning for me still. And then it was an objective draw where somehow my knight got here to defend f2. And like this king, I won this pawn too. And I don't know, in time trouble, I ended up blundering and losing. And so unfortunate start to the tournament, starting 0-2. Crazy game where my opponent sacrificed his queen not once, but twice, promotes to a new queen. And I go from winning to losing to winning again, and ultimately I lost. So, it's a 2-day, 3-day schedule where first 2 days were game 60. Again, I didn't know this tournament was happening. I woke up in the morning, I drove. So just bad planning by me. Disappointing start, it is what it is. I'm pretty happy with how I played the games overall. To battle back from the double exchange to get this crazy position where, maybe I even win this game felt good. Because I felt like I was like a couple moves away from resigning at points where I just have no moves. But yeah, he gave me chances, and so just a reminder to never quit. And unfortunately, I couldn't win the game in the end, but is what it is. Appreciate you guys for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Maybe even leave a comment down below. All of that helps. And have a great day. Bye.